Hello listeners, welcome back to Planet Sky Fantasy Football, the world where everything in this instance revolves around Sky Fantasy Football. My name's Suj.
My name's James.
And we're talking Sky FF. Episode 3, right, of this stuff.
Sky fucking fuck.
Yeah. I feel like both of us, me more than you, but both of us have a bit of a rude awakening into the Sky game. I didn't know what to expect at all in terms of points, etc., etc. And at the end of it, I have ended on 86 points after game week 1. Yourself?
108.
108, so 22 points ahead of me. I have a total rank of 142,000 overall. You are 30.
I am 40,000. It's actually updated since I last looked.
Yeah, mine's gone down by about 5,000 since about half an hour ago. We should have recorded half an hour ago. 142k, which I don't know, is it good, bad, or ugly?
I think that's all right for a start.
You think so? Because some of the big boys, like I saw Paul, Sky Player in FPL, is at 148 already.
Well, that was the big joke. So Paul would come on episode 2 of 30 and 30, kind of inspired this a little bit. There's 200 people in the mini league I set up for this. And you look through and you went, who's top? He's fucking top already, 148 points.
So in a weekend like we've had where Sterling, Salah and Harry Kane and Aubameyang all returned, and potentially you could have had 3 out of the 4. I had no Salah, no Kane, no Aubameyang. I had Sterling and I didn't captain him. To come out 86 points after no captaincy on any of those 4 players could have been worse. But yeah. I feel like now I'm understanding that captaincy and getting it right on the big players, the big hitters, is really important. And so making sure you've got the right balance of them with the fixtures, super important.
I don't want to repeat what I know I kind of said on the main podcast in the week, but like the premiums right now, you look at that weekend, you think, I've got to get them, I've got to captain them, I have to do it. That's going to switch.
It's not going to happen every week.
It's definitely not. This was a massively high scoring week.
Yeah.
Massively.
In both games.
Yes, correct. And that's not always going to be the case. Those who've flown away have pretty much gone Captain Salah, Captain Kane or Sterling the Saturday, and probably Captain Aubameyang on
maybe made
on
a transfer
Sunday.
to get one or t'other
Possibly
in
taken one
across
off.
the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, one of the strategies I mentioned was obviously sell Kane on Sunday morning for Aubameyang. You get 3 games of Aubameyang, just miss Kane at City, and then you could get Kane back in for Newcastle on the Sunday in game week 3. What did you learn, Suj, in terms of like your points this weekend, and other than the others with the captaincy there and stuff?
Yeah, I really cocked up. I looked at a number of teams, or the ones that I could see. This is true for FPL as well as Sky. And even the teams that scored really highly, I look at them and there were quite a few, 2 or 3 players in amongst there that made me take a bit of an intake of breath. I feel like that because of the high points of the big boys, underlying things in teams are a bit covered and masked. So like you said, it's a little bit false. So I think, yeah, still having a balance across. I'm comfortable with my squad having a balance across, other than Gilbert, who didn't get any minutes, and that was a concern. But apart from that, Wilson, Sterling, Allaire, Jota, De Bruyne, yeah, Sigurdsson, Tielemans. I'm not making any other moves at the moment. I'm not making any other transfers.
We both started with Alisson.
Correct.
Did you do anything?
Edison. Yeah, I made the move to Edison.
Yeah, so as did I, yeah.
And that was
I didn't see any reason to wait, and obviously having got that sort of 9-pointer from Edison on Saturday, felt justified absolutely to go for it. Now, I'd pre-planned
11-pointer, no? Or does that?
It adds Alisson's 2 points.
Oh, okay. That was it's a little confusing.
Yeah,
to figure
we'll
out
get used to it.
Yeah.
I saw someone tweeting someone this morning going, fake, De Bruyne didn't get that many points. I'm looking at it going, he's blatantly just transferred De Bruyne in for a Liverpool player from the Friday night.
Exactly.
So, no, that's what it does for new people. So if you went Alisson to Edison, it will show you Edison has 11 points, Alisson's 2 plus Edison's 9. That's how it will show it.
Okay.
It would be better if they just put the 2 players together there, I think. But there you go. Yeah. Beggars can't be choosers. And I'm finding there's a lot that I don't like about this app. Already frustrating me.
Pre-game, I was quite excited about the Sky game. Now that we've had 1 week, I'm a little bit meh.
I would like more ways to get into the statistics, which seems difficult, like on the app.
Okay.
What I would recommend to the guys is get on either, obviously, if you subscribe to Scout, you can get statistics there, or better, what I'd favour and what I'm using is I'm subscribed to Fantasy Football Hub. They've got a specific Sky related stat focus there, which is really cool. Will, who runs Hub, has always had a focus towards the Sky game, so you can look at Sky driven data for the game. So I'd recommend getting up on Hub.
Yeah, for sure.
My instinct on transfers, having already made that one unplanned, is to go without Aubameyang this weekend. That's my instinct right now, not make any changes.
And you're going to stick with Gilbert because he was your player. Have you got any money in the bank?
I've got 0.8.
I've got 0.1. So the move from Gilbert to Burn
Is possible.
for 0.1 seems like a no-brainer if Gilbert's not going to get any minutes.
Yeah, I'm also looking at it and going, if I take that out, you've got Sigurdsson, right?
Correct.
It's not so much of a problem for you. That potentially fucks my captaincy for the game week 3 Friday night game between Villa and Everton.
Right.
I would want Gilbert back in this week to feel comfortable about that. I think he might. I think Gilbert and Target might both get back in for Villa this weekend. We'll speak to Adam Hotcroft tomorrow. That's my instinct, that they'll both get back in. There was no reported injury for Gilbert. I think he just took it from a point of view that he didn't want to go to Dean Smith, didn't want to go to Spurs opening day and completely overhaul his back four.
Yeah.
Like Tyrone Mings was excellent, really good for Villa. Engels, people calling him Mengels now, aren't they? Engels did fine. And the fullbacks on a whole were okay. I think he just thought, I don't want to expose those two to the first game straight away and look at the Spurs game as a bonus. I think those two will get back in for Villa. It's just a question of how soon.
Yeah, it's worth bearing in mind. So for me now, my strategy with Sky is to try and avoid making transfers between now and the overhaul, which I'll probably only make the one, which will be Gilbert out, and probably I'll be looking at Burn, and then ride it out for the next 2 game weeks after that, because I've planned for that. And then when it comes to the overhaul, trying to figure out where the budget value players are. So try and get in at least 4 players that are sub 7 million that are playing, and then spank the money on real big timers that give me captaincy coverage.
The transfers you really want to be making here are between the premiums, it feels like, to get those captaincy days right.
Correct.
And not be wasting them on moves like Gilbert to Burn. There's every chance I make that move and it's really not worth it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can understand where you're coming from, but
unless I got word right, Gilbert definitely not going to play the weekend. Yeah, I would probably make the move with Brighton having the 2 home games. But then game week 4, he's at City, right, before the overhaul.
Correct.
Man might be looking at a minus there.
Yeah.
And as we said on the Brighton Focus pod we did on Monday morning, like Adam Webster wasn't bought for £20 million to be sitting on the bench. So I don't know how long that's going to last.
Yeah, this weekend the challenge is going to be the Sunday games, right? So Monday night you've got Wolves v Man United. I've got Jota for that, so I'm happy with Jota. But the Sunday game, Sheffield United Palace, Chelsea Leicester. I've got Tielemans, and I may just ride that out with Tielemans as captain. I don't see... there's no premium move to be made there. If you're talking about using a transfer for premiums, there just isn't a premium move to be made there. So this week you've got to ride it out.
Well, there's nothing obvious on that Sunday to dive into.
No.
I think it's one of them, accept it, but I don't think we've learnt enough about Chelsea. So at the moment, my captaincy would be set up. I'll go Salah Saturday away to Southampton. I was really unimpressed with them defensively. Vestergaard generally playing as the left-sided centre-half, and he's a problem. Like, he was at fault really for 2 of the goals at Burnley at the weekend. I've got a choice Sunday of either Norwood or Zuma. I'll probably go with Norwood.
They're at home, so
can get
I would
his
do that.
Potential for the passing stats. I think maybe I'll just accept it, and they'll have a bit more in the attacking final thirds than what they had at Bournemouth, although they fully deserved the point at Bournemouth. And I'll go with Jota again Monday night.
I'm going with Raheem Sterling on Saturday against your guys. Guaranteed to play at home. Like I said, I think 3 or 4 for City there potentially. Especially if Kyle Walker-Peters is right back. That's going to be a real battle for
He
the
was
two.
good Saturday, though. He did all right, man.
He was, but Raheem's Raheem at the
Well,
moment.
I get that,
He's just
yeah.
on
I
fire.
mentioned that prior
And you look
to
at the
game
way
week 1.
Pep's talking about him as well, that he scored consecutively in all the preseason games and then has backed it up with a hat trick. Like, yeah, you got to ride it when it's hot, right? Followed by on the Sunday Tielemans, and on the Monday night Jota. I'm happy with that for my captaincy.
Yeah, this week's going to be a lot more low scoring because I think all the big hitters from last week
Same day.
are all playing Saturday, right?
Yes.
So I
prefer it like that.
I think the choice would be, depending on what you've got, Sterling or Salah.
Yeah, which will be quite
Sunday's so tough to pick that captain. I don't think you could have real faith to go in on Chelsea or Leicester when they're playing each other, really.
No.
To know where we're at. You could definitely, if you think about the way Chelsea got exposed on the counter against United, you could make a strong argument to captain Jamie Vardy in this on Sunday, I think.
I've got no choice but to captain Tielemans, so...
But it's not, what I'm saying is not worth thumping into.
Oh, no, there's no
something.
premium transfer to be made at that point, so... yeah, interesting.
And with Wolves' performances against United last year, tactically, I wouldn't see Monday night's game being much different to the 3 games they had last year. I think, yeah, Jota was unfortunate with a few at Leicester on Sunday where he got in behind. He's a top player, isn't he? I really like him.
Yeah, and getting better and better. He'll be my move from Haller if that's not working out necessarily. And if I need to find some money to get Pogba...
Haller's not in your Sky team as well, is he? Really? You put him in your Sky and your FPL team?
I did.
Double the punishment.
He's cheap.
Yeah, but that's why you're already several points
He's
behind.
I think actually my points behind has got nothing to do with that. It's completely down to dud captaincy choices here. If I'd captained Sterling over whoever I did on Saturday, I would be tied with you on points. So it's captaincy is just suddenly right. Okay, I get it. This is how easy and important it can be. And it was overemphasized by a week where the obvious choices were all in double returns territory. But I'm glad it was overemphasized in that way. Sometimes you need that exaggeration to actually put it into context. So, yeah. I'll see. The thing with this is there's no pressure to move until Friday because there's no price changes.
No, the first rule that I've set in place, and you've got to be kind of strict on this, is I am never making a transfer anything other than in the final hour before the first kickoff. What is the point? What would have been the point in pressing the button for Ederson ahead of Alisson on Friday night? Like, we knew 99.9% he was going to play, right?
Sure.
But why take the risk, right?
Yeah.
Wait till, in that case...
We also didn't know how long Alisson
his
was
team
out
you're going to
for.
see. Yeah, but in that case, you knew City was the early game as well, right? So you just wait for the team.
Yeah.
It's little. So for me, Friday and Monday nights, 7 to 8. Tuesday or Wednesday nights, the same if there's a fixture. Saturday, 11:30 to 12:30. Sunday, commonly going to be between 1 and 2. That's
Correct.
the only time I'm going to make transfers. Remember, valuations don't change or fluctuate. You do not need to panic.
No.
Don't leave it too late in the final hour. I saw Dan Cox had tweeted and he went,
crashes.
don't leave it too long. It
the
will
website
crash.
Does crash
So
on occasion.
once you know that first team, make your decision early doors. I just wanted to highlight some of the players that hit tier bonusing at the weekend because some interesting takeouts from this.
You mean the 3-point bonus rather than the 2-point bonus?
Correct.
Yeah.
So there were 4 players who hit 2 tiers of bonuses at the weekend.
Sorry, remind me. I thought you could get either 2 points or 3 points.
Yeah, depending on what tier you hit. But you could hit tiering in, say, passes and tackles.
Oh,
or
I see what
passes
you mean.
and shots, for example.
Okay, so there was 2 different categories where you can pick up 2 or 3 bonus points.
So
and they got 2.
There's a few. Well, technically there's 4, right? So there's shots, passes, tackles, and for keepers, there's saves.
Yes.
Yeah? So there were 4 players who hit 2 tiers at the weekend, and they were all defenders. So Johnny Evans hit tier 1 tackle bonus and tier 2 for passing. And Ricardo Pereira hit tier 1 for passing and tier 2 for tackling, a swap of each other.
Sure.
The interesting on that is obviously they both play for Leicester and they kept a clean sheet at the weekend. But I'll come back onto that because I've got a bit of a theory on that. Aki hit tier 1 for passing and tackling for Bournemouth.
Okay.
I think Sheffield United were a little bit more standoffish than what they might normally be in forthcoming games. And Kyle Walker-Peters also hit tier 1 for tackling and passes.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of the ball, particularly in the first half. Kyle is a very safe player in his passing. He's not the sort that's going to smash it down the channel for someone or whipping crosses regularly. He's quite a safe player where he's integrating into the team. So he will just play the short pass inside. So he'll pick up a lot of them. The reason I wanted to mention particularly the two Leicester guys is also... Ben Chilwell also picked up tier 2 for passing. And the other fella whose name I can't pronounce very well, Soyuncu, the Turkish fella who sort of played centre-half with Johnny Evans at the weekends, also picked up tier 2 passing. So all 4 Leicester players picked up tier passing. Bonusing.
Just whacking it sideways at the back.
So they all picked up something, be it passing or attacking. They essentially, on the passing, they all picked up either tier 1 or tier 2. I don't think it's Leicester. I think it's Wolves that's affected that. Wolves like to sit off and like teams to come at them.
Yeah.
So I think it's more, particularly against good sides. We know they've struggled when they've played weaker teams and struggled to break them down at times. But essentially, their strategy against sides in and around them or of stronger ability is we're going to let you have it, and then front two are going to come at you hard on the break. All the chances they had yesterday were essentially Jimenez and Jota breaking quick on them. So they're quite happy for back fours to knock it around without too much pressure on the ball. So I wonder if that's something to be conscious of in the next few weeks, particularly bearing in mind they will probably sit up very similarly against United on Monday night.
Yep.
Therefore, if you believe and you have a Wan-Bissaka or a Maguire for United, what I'm saying is they are potentially very captainable assets on Monday night, especially if you think they can keep a clean sheet.
Correct. Would you?
I'm starting to understand this shit.
Yes. I mean, it gets a little bit complicated in terms of then you don't want to make transfers based on that. I can understand captaincy options, sure, but you're not necessarily looking at transfers based on that. Like, you're not going to suddenly bring in a defender who's playing against Wolves necessarily.
No, but what I'm saying is you might... There will be teams out there, for example, that I know definitely have got, say, Jota and Wan-Bissaka.
Correct.
Definitely. There will be teams who've got those two. I keep saying fucking Jota is Jota, isn't it?
Yeah.
The obvious to the eye, I think, would be to captain Jota. That's not necessarily the right choice, is what I'm saying. It is okay in this game, as we've seen regularly, to captain defensive players. Yeah. Like you captained not Wan-Bissaka. Who did you captain in... Trent. Was that in your Northern FPL team, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't you captain over Sterling or something?
I can't remember who I
think
captained.
You did,
to be honest,
yeah.
I can't remember.
We'll cover that Friday.
That team, I feel like I'm almost not going in too hard with that Northern team because it could just easily run riot. Like, I felt I was 20 points up on Saturday, right?
We'll talk about this Friday, but don't go easy on me.
No. I thought, what was the final difference? I haven't even checked.
I don't even know.
I think it was about 15 or 20 points.
Yeah.
Because I was up and then I thought, okay, well, we've got Saturday. And then Pogba went and did what he did in terms of assists and another 9-pointer. So, yeah, I mean, I've got no Salah, no Aguero in that team. So
we'll put him in.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I do agree with you there. If United play like they did and keep a clean sheet, Wan-Bissaka is just as captainable maybe as Jota. If you don't have one or the other, I wouldn't fear putting the armband on him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I might yet, although he had a shocker on Sunday, I might yet captain Zuma on Sunday.
Yeah.
I might. But I'd worry about Chelsea defensively.
He was on minus points, Zuma, after this weekend on FPL.
I thought I'd found some value in Kurt Zuma, but I completely forgot that Chelsea defensively are a big problem at the moment.
Yeah, and I don't know why, because if you look on paper, the likes of Azpilicueta, Alonso, Rudiger, Christensen, Zuma...
Well, in both the Sky
and
the FPL formats, Zuma and Christensen really should offer value. If you remember in pre-season, we were saying, well, look at Kepa because he's the cheapest. Suddenly these two, till Rudiger comes back, look pretty nailed at 5. and yet it doesn't quite feel right.
No, Kante needs to start, right?
Well, that will certainly make
the game a little bit.
A difference. But if they go at Leicester in the same way they tried to, and that's not, they were unlucky against United, particularly in the first half. Yeah. But you leave yourself that exposed to a team that wants to play on the counter against you. Thinking about Leicester, right? If Leicester sit off them, Leicester could well beat them on Sunday.
Definitely. So there we go. That's a wrap up of our first week in Sky Fantasy Football. Call it a baptism of fire and a learning experience. But plenty more game weeks and match days and all the rest to go. So yeah, not too disheartened being 60 points behind Paul so far. But, I'm sure in FPL and Sky Fantasy Football, whoever was top of the entire competition in game week 1 has never gone on to actually win the whole thing. So I'm cool sitting in the pack.
I would be very, very, very surprised if that was the case.
Exactly. So it's better off not. You're better off not being one.
The team that was top of Sky Saturday night, I don't know about now, but it had, I think, bar the goalkeeper maybe, it was all Liverpool and Man City. Right. All of them. Well, they're both playing Saturday now, and you've got people like Origi, and where are you going to go?
Yes.
So it's not to be worried about. I wouldn't. What the more experienced Sky players suggested to us pre-season was like, don't stress too much about that rank early on, because a lot of guys are going to be burning through transfers.
Yeah, but the points number does make quite a bit of a difference.
I think Aubameyang is a big call for people this weekend. It will be circumstantial to you, I think, whether you go for it or not.
Yes, indeed. Stay tuned for more Sky Fantasy Football shows. We'll be back next week with episode 4 by then. Yeah, and we might have levelled out some of the scoring and points and captaincy and all the rest of it.
Or might not.
Yeah, let's see what happens this weekend. Who are you captaining this weekend? Salah, you said.
So I'm going to go Salah Saturday, probably Norwood Sunday and Hotton Monday.
There we go. And I'll be with Sterling Saturday, Tielemans Sunday, Jota Monday.
Do you know what? Reading out them captains makes me feel like we're doing this game wrong.
Probably.
But I think Sunday is not too important. A lot of the scoring this weekend will be influenced by Saturday.
Interesting. Good. Stay tuned, and we'll be back this week tomorrow with Clash of the Correspondents with Adam and Neil. That's Aston Villa, Bournemouth, and then our dead teams and all the rest of that stuff. Differential teams for FPL on Friday. In the meantime, ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.
The Fantasy Football Show.